my name is Michael Suddens. I am the project manager for the Leicestershire Collaborate to Accelerate Net Zero demonstrator, and my role really is to lead the coordination of the whole project across all the different work packages and the different partners, which I'll get onto in a moment. Through this presentation, I aim to give you that high-level overview of the whole project and its different work packages, and then I'll hand over to Ben from Green Fox Community Energy, who will follow on with a much deeper dive and local focus from the lens of the only active local community energy group in Leicester and Leicestershire. So the demonstrator, which I'll go on to shortly, builds on the phase one of the project, which identified key governance principles that Leicestershire stakeholders deemed as requirements in the approach that we take for net zero delivery. But it also explored the role that community energy can play in this approach, which is a significantly underdeveloped sector within the county. And it looked at how we could maximise the support and looked at how we could maximise community energy to support net zero delivery. So Leicestershire has been awarded £2.5 million by Innovate UK to deliver a project between March 2024 and November 2025. The funding is part of Innovate UK's £60 million net zero living programme, which helps fund over 50 projects across the UK with the purpose to accelerate the transition to net zero by removing non-technical barriers. So these could be things such as capacity to deliver projects, skills, engagement, financing, and governance, for example. Leicestershire is one of the main demonstrators, of which there's 7, and our purpose is to test new ways of doing things, new innovations and methods to delivery to then disseminate and share with other local authorities so they can hopefully learn from hopefully our success or our mistakes. The aim of the project is to create an environment for well-planned, coordinated and impactful net zero delivery that's replicable to those other local authority areas. There's a unique and diverse combination of partners as part of the consortium, which are on the bottom of the screen. And these partners come from public, private, academic, and also the community sector. The demonstrator looks at the whole net zero system that's needed to effectively deliver net zero. And as I said, this is across 4 main work packages, which are on screen. So work package 1 focuses on governance. So this looks at the cross-sector coordination and collaboration needed alongside the decision-making to accelerate the delivery of net zero, and is strongly linked to work package 2. And this particular work package 1 is led by De Montfort University. But work package 2 is led by Energy Systems Catapult. And what it aims to deliver is a local air energy plan for Leicester and Leicestershire, but looking at it from the perspective of different user types. And these user types are local government, community energy, network operators, and investors. And understanding those user needs and requirements from the very start and embedding them through the whole process so that we end up with a pipeline of investable and deliverable projects that those users then can take forward. Work package 3, which is then where community energy comes in, aims to build capacity right across Leicestershire for community energy, following the community energy pathways approach that Ollie took us through earlier. The approach looks to engage with Leicestershire communities to identify, mentor, train and support those communities to hopefully become community energy organisations. And over the course of the project, we aim to have 1 organisation in each of the districts or boroughs and to create a network right across Leicestershire supported by a central hub. Work package 4 then brings us all together in a central advisory service that brings together the outputs of the demonstrator and offers research-led advice to different types of stakeholders that's called Greener Future Leicestershire. So the next slide is designed to demonstrate how all these work packages interconnect and link together, and how we're trying to look at this from a whole systems approach and not necessarily as work with all those work packages as a separate entity within the project. So I won't go into this, it was just to demonstrate that they're all interconnected. And the next slide, so this slide demonstrates or tries to demonstrate that this is not a project to deliver a local air energy plan, but it is a project that looks at this whole net zero delivery system and addresses the key challenges of how do local authorities better understand and prepare for post-leap delivery. We don't want to end up with something that just sits there on a shelf and we don't know how to deliver it. So we're exploring how to make local air energy plans more effective and deliverable so that we have pipeline projects that are ready for these different user types to take forward, because we've understood the user needs and requirements right from the very start, and we've translated these to help then prioritize the pipeline delivery. But we're then looking at how are these supported after the leap is developed by creating a strong foundation to accelerate the delivery of projects. And the example, obviously, we're going to focus in on is looking at developing Leicestershire community energy network, identifying community energy specific projects, building up that capacity and supporting them with a readiness fund to get projects off the ground, hopefully by the end of the project. But all of this is looking to set up longevity and that we want all of these outputs to continue long after the demonstrator funding runs out. So with that in mind, I will hand over to Ben from Green Fox Community Energy, who's going to delve deeper into the local community energy context for Leicestershire.
Thanks, Michael. And I've only got a few minutes, so I'm going to try and whiz through these slides, so please bear with me. My name is Ben Dodd. I'm a director of Green Fox Community Energy. And as it said before, it's the only operational community energy organisation in Leicestershire. Came out of the Transition Towns movement and was set up in 2012. So we've been going a little while to facilitate the increase of community-owned renewables in Leicester and Leicestershire. Probably best known for working with Hinckley Academy, a large secondary school, replacing their ageing oil boilers with biomass boilers, providing sustainable heat to the school. To fund the capital installation, Green Fox raised around £865,000 in community shares, with over 200 people investing. Over 50% of these investors came from Leicester and Leicestershire. In this project, investors offered a return on investment and a repayment to their capital over 20 years. The income into the business model comes from the cooperative selling the heat to the school at reduced cost and benefited from the renewable heat incentive at the time. The project saved the school an estimated £80,000 per year in energy costs. It's huge, and a significant 500 tonnes of CO2. Remember, it was going from oil to wood chip. It's worth mentioning that to supply the wood chip to the school, Green Fox secured European funding to work with a local farmer and establish the first wood processing plant in the National Forest, just a few miles away from the school. This provides a wide economic benefit to the local area and employs local people in the supply chain. And I think we need to keep that in mind when we're delivering projects. This project alone demonstrates the huge opportunities community energy can bring, but Green Fox lacks the capacity to deliver it in a significant scale in Leicestershire. At the same time, many local authorities are not fully engaging with community energy. And Michael, if you don't mind me saying, it's taken over 10 years for Green Fox to gain any traction with the County Council. This changed when Leicestershire County Council published their net zero strategy and were looking for ways in which to deliver it. A joint submission to Innovate UK, as Michael was talking about, provided the funding to identify and break down barriers, first of all, that were stifling the development. And it's fair to say that that changed the landscape immeasurably. The second submission to Innovate UK is now funding the development of community energy in the county. As part of this process, Green Fox reached out to Community Energy South to roll out the Community Energy Pathways programme, and Ollie has already spoken about that. But that's a really good programme, and I do recommend it to other local authorities. So next slide, please. As part of the Leicestershire CAN project, the local area energy plan will be completed in early 2025 and is designed to identify a pipeline of potential projects that could be delivered through a community energy approach. Knowing that that's coming down the line, it's important we develop the capacity for delivering community energy projects across the county. Through the Community Energy Pathways programme, work has already started to map out interested groups and individuals, and you can see this on the right-hand side of the slide. It is the intention to group interested parties together in each district, and support will be provided in webinars, training, mentoring, networking, access to funding, and community energy expertise. District council onboarding meetings are taking place, ensuring that senior officers know about the project and the opportunities it brings. The most obvious ones is community-owned PV. Next slide, please. And I thought I would just share some of the buildings with you that have been identified for solar PV, and they really do differ from leisure centres, village halls, community hubs, and even a bingo hall, which is my favourite. Next slide, please. Another early success has been the development of a holistic approach to install PV on Leicestershire schools. £40,000 of funding was secured through the Midlands Net Zero Hub to carry out the desktop survey of 260 schools to assess the potential of PV rooftop solar. This has not been done in Leicestershire before, and it was actively supported by the council. Out of the 260 schools, 161 schools were deemed suitable for PV, with a total installed capacity of 12 megawatts. So it's like the size of a small solar farm. This led to stage 2 community energy fund application to the hub. Next slide, please. This application managed to get £100,000. That's £140,000 of grant income just from that project alone. Together with Leicestershire County Council, Green Fox, we're going to be ambitious, and we are going to approach those 161 schools and let them self-select by providing the energy data, so a more detailed financial model can be built, matching the demand of electricity from the school with a supply from the PV panels. In true Blue Peter style, here on the left is one that we've worked on earlier, well, sort of, but it's important as it's paved the way for a larger solar schools programme. What you're seeing there is the first net zero carbon primary school to be built in Leicestershire, one of a number of schools, 15 I think, that are going to be built across the county. The construction company Wilmot Dixon suggested that the PV on each of these new schools would be placed in community ownership and therefore reduce the building cost. The cost of the PV is £70,000 on this school. Therefore, over 15 schools, this would be a saving to the county council of £1 million. The council supported this approach and worked with Green Fox to agree the power purchase agreement, the legals that's needed, and the project was signed off by the Department of Education and will shortly be going to share offer. So we'll try and send that round. Being the landlord of many academy trusts and owning the grant maintained schools, it's very difficult to run with school projects without the council involvement. Next slide, please. With the support of the local authority, Green Fox have explored the potential for larger projects, such as solar farms and wind turbines. Green Fox are currently negotiating for a 15 megawatt solar farm to be put in the hands of the community. This sort of project needs capital finance at the start of the project, and a new relationship with Thrive Renewables has developed. Thrive Renewables is a renewable energy investment company and would provide the finance to build a solar farm up front. And then Green Fox would carry out multiple share offers over the time to put 50% of that solar farm into community ownership. A further £80,000 have been secured for further due diligence on this solar farm, meaning that £220,000 have been secured since the start of the project, and that's basically in 8 months. I would like to draw to a close, but I hope you see what is possible in terms of net zero delivery when you start to build relationships between community energy organisations and local authorities. That support runs through the whole of this presentation, and I encourage all local authorities to take a similar approach to net zero delivery. And what I would say, as I just said to my breakout group, now is the time to be involved in community energy. I've been doing it for 30 years. And never has there been a better time with this new government coming down and GB Energy coming on board. And so grasp it now while you have the opportunity.